As a fitness professional for 41 years, I've done a lot of core exercise in my days, and I'd like to take some of that back. Here's what I've changed over the last 41 years, and you may want to too.
The first exercise is the crunch, probably the most popular of all core. But if you notice my hands here, my form is pretty good, but still, we've got hands pulling on the head, cervical spine forward flexion. Here's a way to ditch the risk and get the reward. What we're really doing, and I'm super slowing it down here, is moving your rib cage closer to your hips. So I could have my hands here, but actually if I focus on just bringing the rib closer to the hip, it's a very short range of motion. Now there's much less strain on my cervical spine and my neck. I do have strain or training going on at the neck. You could take a hand towel, put your hands back on either side of your head, holding on to the end of that towel, and lay your head backward, actually resting the neck if you wanted to try that. But remember, short range of motion. If you must do a crunch, that would be the way to do it. This next one is a second cousin to the crunch, and it is, of course, the sit-up, the full sit-up. Now, a lot of us do it with momentum. My feet didn't come up, but they came close. And if yours do, we're actually not really using the core muscles. But there's a lot of strain in the lower back and in the cervical spine again. So here's your alternative. To do forward flexion and get that rib to hip connection, invert it. So you're doing a crunch, but you're doing it inverted. So in a plank position, rounding the back. If you do this, try to bring the knee to the opposite shoulder and you don't feel your core, I promise you I will be surprised. Try it with me. The only reason you might not be able to do this is that this bothers your wrists and you're unable to do it. And in that case, just throw this one out. There are dozens of other core exercises that you can do instead. And we'll hit a couple of them as we throw these corrections in. This one we don't see a lot of, but I still see it done sometimes, and this is leg lowering. And the problem is if you come down especially fast, your lower back comes off the ground, then you're not really using your core, but you're straining your low back. So instead, you can flex at the knee so we don't have a long lever anymore, and you first focus on keeping your waistband down, lower back down, all the way through range of motion, no matter where you are in this work. And we do one leg at a time as opposed to two. Try these with me as we do this in slow motion. You could place your hands underneath the hip as I just did right there and showed. Lower back down. And you want to be breathing. So really tempting while you're bracing in one part of your body. Holding the breath is very natural and kind of an intuitive reaction. So you have to concentrate on inhaling, exhaling, inhale, exhale, and make sure that you're continuing to do that, and you are less likely to create internal abdominal pressure, and that's a good thing for avoidance of prolapse. So make sure you're breathing throughout, one leg at a time, lower back stays down constantly, and then you're really focusing on deep core muscles. As simple as this is, if you do it with me, my guess is you will understand it's not so simple. Next up, this one's called a V-sit. You're sitting really in the shape of a V, but then often we're rotating side to side. I've seen people do this with a medicine ball, or in other words, a weight. Definitely a lot of pressure coming on your lower back. So let's slow down this one and look at. You've got a stabilization as you hold still in the core, but now we also add rotation to it. So there's a lot of core torque going on, and that's where injuries can come. So instead of that, we do want to get rotation, and we can stabilize by being on the ground instead. I'm showing with a short lever. My knees are bent at 90 degrees. Now you could extend them and that would be a little bit more weight. If you fully extended them, obviously that's going to be the most weight and a little bit more torque.
Hey, I'm Debra Atkinson. I'm the founder of Flipping 50. It's the home of the first and the only exclusively made for menopause fitness membership in the world. What that means is every program we pick, every repetition, every set, every reason for how much rest between that exercise and stimulating that muscle group and the next is based on research featuring women just like you. And that's a really small slice of the research out there today. So it matters. But here's why this matters to you. Listen, core exercise is not going to give you a flat belly. Core exercise is not going to whittle away fat or muffin top, either inside or on top of the jeans. But what it will do is help you go faster and lift more safely, so that going faster and lifting more are some of the best core exercises that you will do eventually. But we need to get a handle on safely stimulating the 5 working core muscles. If you want more support with that, stay with me till the end.
All right, instead of this very popular exercise, which I'm twiddling my thumbs to illustrate a point, just statically holding a plank is really not all that valuable. Once you can do that for 30 seconds, here's a smarter way to do your planks. Add a variation. So you could come up, you could be up and then tap your opposite shoulder, still trying to hold very still through the core, through the torso. You could come down, take your legs side to side, single legs, or you could add 2 and then come up to 3, change it up so it's like a game and variations come throughout. Your core has to work a little harder when you're doing that. Notice my hips stay the same as I do these little knee taps or as I walk and lift the legs up. You could do any one of those or all. So here we are again. Quick review of all the ones I love. I will do inverted crunches just like this, and they are much more difficult, I promise you. So that's one of my favorites. I left out crunch because I really don't do them. Single leg marches, what this is called. My lower back is down. I'm really stabilizing. My core is down on the ground as I move every leg, and yet I'm breathing, making sure what I'm holding is my position, but not my breath. Lower leg, not a race, and the knee stays at 90 degrees. Few important details to remember. Next was the rotation. Bending the knees is the best way to start. If you want to, try it here. Feel like that's easy. You can extend those legs. If even this here is not easy, you can bring your legs up one at a time and go left, right, and bring both together down, and then right, left, come up. And last but not least, variations on a plank. Tapping the shoulders all the way up is one. On the forearms, lowering the legs or dropping them out to the side, climbing a ladder. So it's 1 the first time, 2 the second time, 3 the next time, and so on. And you get the idea. You can lift them up behind you. You can tap the knees down to the ground. The key here, try not to move and lift the hips or drop them. Either way.
So there you have it. Everybody wants a flat belly, but look, core exercise is not going to help you get a flat belly or get rid of fat, whether it's internal, what we call visceral, or it's external, that pinch an inch and over the top muffin top. Part of that, by the way, is related to cortisol and insulin. Decrease your stress level and watch what you're eating, but also the sequence you eat it in. That alone can help get rid of belly fat. But everybody wants and needs a strong core so you can go faster and lift more. If you'd like a challenge, a core challenge that offers exercises of 5 different kinds: stabilization, back extension, lateral flexion, forward flexion, we don't need as much, and lateral flexion, I've got it for you. Link down below.